the last question is from Debbra Determan, who is from Foothills Caring Corps.
I'm speaking on behalf of the nonprofits. Livability plays quite a role in a person's choice to live in a town. The infrastructure such as water, streets, bike paths, public transportation, walking paths can be an important part of the choice. Equally important can be the various services such as park and recreation services, health and human services, as well as music, art, and cultural programs. What key roles should Carefree Town play in infrastructure issues and in service sector issues?
Okay, we'll start this off with John Grant.
In terms of livability, we have a responsibility to all of our citizens to, within our means, to make the city livable. So a first step for that is safety. So lighting, walking ways, signs that are not in the walkways. And we need to, if we don't have the wherewithal necessarily to finance those things, we at least need to be able to work with those organizations in our town, like the Caring Corps, to help facilitate them to do their job. Okay? So maybe that means we work with them to make it accessible the amphitheater for an event. We post things on our webpage that encourage their success. Culturally, we have the amphitheater, and we can encourage things to come into the town. So cultural things like music or the arts. As an example, talking about a cultural event, we have the Herd North just down the road from us. They're in a parking lot at the summit. So we have a beautiful amphitheater that they could use as a venue for an event.
At one point in town, we used to have performances in the amphitheater in the evening, and that stopped. For what reason, I'm not sure. But I always thought it was a very good idea, and they were always very, very well attended. What's going on with that?
Well, I'm not sure why they stopped, but I think it's a great idea. I mean, today, I'm not sure when that was, but today we have gas lights, we have lights to help illuminate the paths. If you could have cultural events or music in the evenings, it would help our restaurants. It would encourage more restaurants to come. So I think it's a great idea, and I think that the town, while we may not be able to necessarily fund it, we can certainly line up the people who can make it happen, and we can work with the Chamber of Commerce, and we can work with the merchants to come up with a way to fund those things, to bring people into the town. It'll help the merchants, it'll help the restaurants as well as the merchants, because we can get the merchants to stay open late at night. We can have an evening, so Thursday nights when people can come, and we'll keep the lights on until at least 9 p.m.
Thank you. Glenn Miller?
Okay, as far as infrastructure goes, I think we've got our infrastructure in our town center as far as the older seniors walking around. We've got the sidewalks, we've got the handicap ramps, we've got beautiful gardens, wide sidewalks, and as John related, well lit now. To your question about the concert stopping on Thursday nights, that kind of came to a halt when the financial crunch hit this country, when the town had to tighten its belt. So I just thought you want to know that, Jim. Deborah, as far as the Caring Corps and all the nonprofits, they're great organizations in this town. It amazes me how many people are volunteering within this community to the nonprofits. We need that. We all get older. We're all going to need help. I try and do my part with the older seniors in town. They all have my home number. If they have a problem, they call me. It's look after your neighbors. That's always been a big thing of me, is looking after your neighbors, and I try to get that out there to people all the time. The Caring Corps, they're huge. I have had meetings with them. Deborah works very closely with the fire chief, the fire department here. She knows she can always rely on them, and we appreciate what you do, Deborah.
Thank you. Marty?
Okay, I'm going to try to go back to what I think your question was, because I think it kind of wandered a bit there. You were talking about infrastructure, which I assume you mean physical plant. Dirt, brick, mortar, stuff, is what I think you were getting at. And step one is identifying the problems, meaning what needs improving and to what end. You know, what's wrong and what is it hurting by being the way it is. Infrastructure thing, it just leads back to a funny story, because I talked about being willing to be wrong, and we were talking about this whole splash pad thing a couple of years ago, and when it came up, I was laughing my head off at the rest of the people on council. I said, "You're nuts." Then I went over to a place that had one, and I watched, and the kids were hanging around, and the grandparents were hanging around watching them and going into the stores and shopping while the kids were playing the splash pad. Boy, was I wrong. So when it comes to infrastructure, I see all of these things that can attract people into the town as good things. And we need to keep an open mind about that. And I hope, because I think that's kind of what your question was going for, and if it wasn't, oh well.
Okay. Tough to follow up on that one. Melissa?
I believe we've done some great things with our infrastructure as far as adding pedestrian lighting around the town center. I would like to see us eventually have sidewalks and bike lanes along our arterial roads that border the town center, at least. It would be nice to be able to walk down to Bashes without getting worried about being run over. I'm not sure what service sector issues there might be, and maybe that is something that this council needs to look into in the future. I love John's idea of utilizing our amphitheater area for perhaps a lot of nonprofits. And I don't know if that answered all the question, but...
Okay, thank you. Mayor Schwan?
Carefree citizens have always said they want small government, basic services from their government, and that's what they're getting now. Roads, fire protection, police protection. Social services, amenities that add to the quality of life cost money. The model that Carefree and this whole community has used is small government providing fundamental services and volunteer organizations providing quality of life services. Caring Corps does an excellent job providing transportation and mobile meals. The food bank does an excellent job taking care of people in need. Kiwanis does an excellent job in the many projects they had, the Seroptimist, etc., etc., etc. I think that model is working for us now, and I think it will continue to work in the future. The town needs to continue providing the basic services of roadways, fire, police protection, and we need to work with, as we currently are doing, our 501c3s to help them be successful in providing the quality of life services. We're losing some very important people, our senior citizens, who can't maintain in this community because we don't have senior housing available. We only have 2 plots of land left in town where that can occur. We need to think about our future. It's very easy to say today, I don't need help with transportation. Try and live without your car for 1 week and find out what it would be like when you get old and unable to drive. For the present, it works. The future, we need to start considering now.
Thank you. Mike Farrar?
When I heard your question, I immediately thought of economic development, and secondly, I then thought of the first question, which was the town of Carefree's in strong financial shape, no debt and a cash surplus. And as the mayor eloquently pointed out, small government works best. I think we provide basic services, and we look to the nonprofits and the partners to assist in those other enhancements within our community. I think we've done a lot as a current council We've enhanced the lighting within our town center. I think safety is a priority for this town, and I think we've demonstrated we do have a safe community. We are working hand in hand with other organizations like MAG. MAG is currently undergoing a study regarding bike paths, walking trails. There could be significant funding available to this community after that study is completed.
Go ahead, Les, I apologize.
Carefree is a relatively new community. Carefree is a relatively small community, 3,500 residents, give or take 100 or two. There are basic services which we provide. There are others which, through the gracious, generous contributions and efforts of our citizens, they've taken over some of the functions which, if you went to Phoenix or Scottsdale or Los Angeles or somewhere, the city would have a heavy hand in. Transportation, certainly. Look at what the Desert Foothill Library provides in terms of, to a lot of our people. The Kiwanis, the food bank, etc., all these kinds of things. From a practical, I support those kinds of things. We need it for this community to make it what it is. But at the same time, let's say we come down and now we have let's say we're considering $50,000 that we might donate or support these various charities and service structures with. Where most likely it's going to come from is the business sector. So now you're going to get into one of these kinds of decisions. At a minimum, I think that the town can provide its resources, the amphitheater, all of the support that can go behind it to help these as much as they can, because these organizations, these service organizations, provide something that makes this a human town, and that we need.
Thank you. Mike?
I think Les used a very important word, and I agree with him: humanness. Nonprofits are mission critical for any town because they allow the humanness of us to be expressed, and we all need a hand once in a while. It's nice to know that they're there. The infrastructure's in place. It's strong. We need to take you with us. We need to take the nonprofits with us in that conversation about our future. What's needed? When is it needed? Why is it needed? How do we accomplish it? And I think those are important discussions that have to happen as this town goes forward. Because, as everyone has said, if we bring the businesses, it brings more to you, and there'll be more need as we go forward, not less need. And if we lose you or leave you or don't attend to you, this town loses its humanness. And so I'm all for including you in the future plan.
Thank you.